Right, what do we got here? So, I've got the T238 Mosfet that I'll be installing into this. So it's my eldest son's blaster. It's got a Perun 13-to-1 gears. I'm still waiting on the 13-to-1 gears, so I'm just gonna swap the Mosfets out to start with, see how it goes. Also have a one-piece cylinder, which I'm going to put into one of my DSGs in a couple of days. Having tried one of these before, normally I just epoxy the cylinder head into the cylinder. So I'll be doing a comparison, the one-piece cylinder versus what I normally use, and hopefully there's going to be some sort of improvement in the FPS. And also I just got hold of these, so I'm pretty excited to try these as well. It's a retro arms. I'm going to be trying to use it with the MK boxes. So what it does is it goes in the back, screws into the retainer, and then butts up against the rear of the gearbox. It's supposed to hold that retainer straight. So if you're running blasters that don't have the buffer tube where you can put the bolt through into the retainer, this is another option. So it'd be interesting to see how this goes actually. Just by the looks of it, it looks maybe a little bit too small. I won't know until I pull that other blaster apart and have a look, and hopefully the thread, hopefully it's just a universal thread. All of them, the spring retainers have the same thread, so we'll see how that goes. So I've got it to this stage, just thought I'll quickly show you how it goes before I put the new Mosfet in. So it's got the Perun. I guess just look at the settings. So active brake's on, precock's off, battery protection is on, and binary trigger is off. This is how it is in semi. This one, I really haven't shown much love to it. It goes alright. It's only really doing about 15 rounds a second. Basically, I just didn't want my son to destroy it, so kind of kept it at a reasonable rate of fire. It does have the hair trigger mod. It's pretty snappy. I mean, it does have the 28 TPA and 13-to-1 gears. So it does have good trigger response. Although I do find that I have problems with the binary. I can actually pull the trigger faster than it will fire. Hopefully this will solve that problem, as I had the same issue with another Perun, and when I swapped out to the Leviathan V2, that solved that problem, so I'm hoping this will do the same. And considering that's only $60, and if it works, probably a good investment. One thing I have been told though is just be careful when you're pulling the top portion of the Mosfet off, as I have heard from one person that they actually pulled that off. So it was very tight, and as I've tried to remove the top section, this bottom part that the pins go into, it actually detached from the bottom of the Mosfet. Some other really weird things, I don't know what they're doing. The wires seem a little thin, but it might just be the insulation. But if these are to power the magazine, why would you solder them on that way when the magazine terminals go that way? So I'm gonna have to bend that around, and I don't really want to resolder it just because I can't be bothered. So I'm gonna have to try and twist it around. It's just a bit of a kind of silly way to do it, but oh well, just got to work with what is here. And it comes with all of these parts here as well, some mag terminals, some heat shrink tubes, some little foam pads. I'll have to work out where they go, and of course, don't even know what you call that, mini Tamiya plugs that's going straight in the rubbish. and I'll use Dean's. So I'll pull the Perun out and put this in, see how we go. So it's installed. What I've done is I've closed the box, put some screws in. I've got the sector gear in there. Now what you really need to do is you need to make sure that the sector gear is not going to hit any of the sensors on the top part of the Mosfet board. And what you need to do is you need to get a light in here somehow from the back side here, or sometimes you can just use your desk light, and just double check that the teeth on the sector gear are not going to contact the sensor on the top board, and I can see from this they're not. So that's a handy tip, is always check it's not going to rub or hit on that top sensor, otherwise you pretty much have a busted Mosfet. So this one's looking pretty good. Well, I've been playing with this for a bit now and I actually like it. So for a $60 Mosfet, I don't think you can go wrong really. $60, it's pretty darn cheap. It comes with an instruction manual. It's pretty easy to follow. It's not actually too bad, because normally when they translate it to English it makes no sense, but this one's really good. All the key things you need to know are in there. Programming, it's pretty simple. It seems a bit confusing at the start, but it's actually pretty easy to do. Couple of little things probably they could add maybe in the future is precock. So I've got it on precock on setting 4 at the moment, but as far as I can see there's no quick way to disable precock unless you go in and do it the long way, like the Leviathan. You just hold your finger down on the trigger for 3 seconds and that'll disable the precocking. This doesn't look like it has that sort of function, but it seems to be performing pretty well. I mean, I've been testing for a while and nothing seems to have gone wrong yet. So this is semi. This is full auto now. I think with the full auto, I think maybe it's a little tad bit slower, but like I said, it's for my son. I'm not too worried about the speed. But overall, it's performing very well. Like for $60, it's hard to imagine something for $60 can actually perform this well. So if you want a budget MOSFET that performs well, I reckon you give one of these a crack. Now I'm going to put it on binary trigger, so just going to disconnect that. Now I need to go to setting 2 and number 2. So I'm in programming mode now. On option 2, and then I want setting 2. And now I should have binary trigger, which I do. So look at that compared to the Perun. It's twice as good. It's twice as good and it's half the price. So yeah, I'm gonna buy another one actually for $60. I think that's really good value, especially if you don't want to spend a lot of money and you want a decent MOSFET. Now I guess the telltale thing will be how long does it last for. So with all the games coming back on, I'll get my son to give that a thorough working over on the field and see how we go. The next thing I'll be concentrating on is the one-piece cylinder. I'm going to put that into one of my DSGs and just see if I have an FPS gain. Hopefully I do. I'm not too worried if I don't, but I kind of bagged these out before, but I can't really do that unless I actually give it a crack. So that cost me $50, and the setup I normally use costs $12, so better perform. And also I got these little spring retainer, retro arms spring retainer thingy bobs. I'm not sure what they're called. I think QSC. I'm not sure what that stands for, but be giving those a crack as well. So if you like the videos, give it a like and share it with your friends who might find this stuff interesting. That's pretty much it.